Skeptical, Parenting Through Nonbelief.
We're a married atheist couple raising two wonderful, strange children. We ask big questions, dissect weird parenting moments, and examine how society ignores or misrepresents families like ours. If you're any stripe of nonbeliever who's involved in raising children, welcome. You are our people.
Our kids have heard all our swears, but yours might not have. So be thoughtful if there are young people listening with you. This week is really different.
How so?
Our children
Is time
aren't
moving
here.
slower? Oh, yes, our children are not here. Yeah, I've been drinking more. It's actually quite nice. I should keep that going. Though it's hard to pair that with having to drive kids around to activities, so maybe not.
Yeah, no, that's problematic. Yeah, they're gone at camp for the first time ever.
And I think that you are having the hardest time out of any of the four of us.
I hope so. I feel like I could be doing
You could be doing worse.
Much worse.
That's true. There haven't been as many tears as I expected.
Yeah, I was a little frantic the first day because the camp had not posted any pictures or anything yet. And I did not do well with that.
No.
But
What?
But now that I know they just sort of post one dump of pictures, usually pretty late at night. On that level, I'm doing a bit better. I'm just a little blue. I miss them.
It's understandable.
I was thinking this morning that I sort of had a revelation for them not being here, but now I can't remember what it was.
I don't know what you're talking about, so I guess that makes the two of us?
Yeah. No idea. How different does it feel with them not here?
I think the biggest change is in how I view my time. Like, I think I've done a pretty good job compartmentalizing, like, whatever anxiety I have about them not being here. And so my primary focus has been on, okay, what kind of schedule changes can I or should I make, this week while they're not here?
Mm-hmm.
And a good number of those have been in deference to you wanting to move things around so you could get more sleep, go to bed earlier. And I'm happy to do that. But yeah, I think the freedom to not have to stop my workday and shift to parenting duties is kind of nice. Like, I love them. I enjoy parenting. But there are times when I don't. And I think every parent can give an amen to that, Like, there is no sort of universal love of anything, including parenting. Like, as much as I love my children, it is work. And focusing on it as much as I do invariably takes time away from me doing some of the other things that I want to do with my life.
Yeah, I
So maybe we should, I don't know, have them go somewhere for another couple of weeks.
No, I miss them very much.
I mean, we could just foist them on one of our parents. Just be like, hey.
No, I mean, I didn't know if it would feel revolutionary how much more I can get done with them not here. And I have certainly, look, at the beginning of this year, I said it was a cleanup year. And I have certainly checked a few of those items off my list while they were gone that I had been having a very hard time checking off my list. But
good for you.
I wouldn't say, I work full time and I do this, and that is just that is a bit of a full schedule regardless. So
sure. 100%.
Yeah, so it didn't feel like the world, like turned upside down while they were gone in that way. And I really wanted to get to bed earlier to try to reset my sleep schedule a little bit to hopefully inspire that more moving forward. I don't know if that's going to take or not. Yeah, but I'm getting pretty ready to have them back. I can intuit nothing from the photos about whether they're having a kick-ass time or not. So it'll be very interesting to hear their thoughts.
Yes, indeed. Though to be fair, it doesn't look like 75% of the kids are like doing that theater kid beaming pose that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, which I appreciate. Like,
Yeah.
I appreciate that the photos are very much like in the moment. Nobody's being forced to act happy when they're not. They're just sort of,
Kids.
It also does not help the reader just like
never poses or smiles.
Well, he does pose.
He doesn't smile in photos.
No, that is true. He has a very strong sense of sometimes not wanting to be photographed.
Yes.
And he has a very strong sense when he is photographed of how he wants to look. Yes. And that is often an aesthetic known only to him.
That's a really astute way of putting it. Yeah.
Which I love. I truly love that about him. He has a sense of his own presentation, which I think is really cool. And sometimes difficult because he is gorgeous right now.
Yeah.
I don't know if I talk about this, but just
I don't think he appreciates how attractive he is.
Oh, he truly does not. But he is boy band gorgeous.
We just got
currently.
Done watching K-pop Demon Hunters, and I'm like, yeah, he could be one of those kids who's like one of the demons in the boy band.
No, he's just stunning. And so I kind of like that he has, well, I don't know. I think it is interesting that he has no relationship to that, and his whole self-presentation is something entirely different in his mind. It is a cool thing about him. But if he wanted to, he could be in like catalogs very easily, I feel like, if he had any ambition in that direction.
Sure.
But
I take it that I would be driving him to these shoots and auditions, right?
Of course. But no, it's like not an issue. He clearly has no interest in that.
Would it be fair because, we would be in charge of all of his money that he's making from that. So I don't know. I could buy a Corvette. He likes Corvettes. I think he could get behind that.
He does.
I'm going to take like half of what you make. I'm going to put it towards a sports car. You get to pick the color. I'll let him pick the color. That's only fair.
Yeah. Anyway, we will give an update about how this all went. And maybe I'll rethink of what I learned from it.
That's fair. That's fair. I think a lot of our thoughts about this are colored by the fact that we have not been without children for, the better part of 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
And as such, we're kind of, I think, flopping about psychologically. And I think it'll take a bit to unpack how we felt this past week, and then also like what we can learn from that, what that means moving forward. I'm just excited to hear what they did and their thoughts about the week, because sleepaway camp is a very unique experience. And this was a very classic sort of sleepaway camp experience.
Mm-hmm.
And, there will be other summers coming up where same or similar opportunities will present themselves. So I just don't know. I think, I think I'm going to have to sort of put a pin in that internal conversation until I talk with them about it a bit more this coming weekend.
For sure. So before the boys left for camp, we went to see the new Superman.
We did.
And the
I love that they used the original theme. Though I did like the Hans Zimmer flight theme from Man of Steel. I thought that's really inspiring and cool. But nothing beats the original. So the fact that they kept alluding to it throughout the film was very satisfying.
Yeah. So I am kind of shocked about the discourse surrounding the film. How much have you sort of been tuned into it?
Lots.
Okay. First of all, are you one of the men who feels like he was profoundly moved by the new Superman?
I think that just in general, I was hoping for it to be positive and empathetic and less like Nietzschean than the Zack Snyder version.
Yep.
And I got exactly what I was hoping for. The fact that he says golly within like 10 seconds of being on screen after he gets healed up was amazing. I mean, chef's kiss. All of it. Like the world is grim right now. Forces vastly more powerful than any individual conspire to keep us separated, so that way we don't appreciate how when we come together, those forces become less relevant or lose power completely. And to have, once again, a version of Superman that is an exemplar of the power of the spirit rather than the awe of strength is wonderful. Because like his monologue at the end to Lex Luthor was all about how wasn't just like the weird ass don't save people, hide yourself, Pa Kent thing from Kevin Costner's rendition in Man of Steel, which I don't know is like not as Superman-ish to me. Versus this version, which is like, I'm going to save the people under the building. I'm going to set the building down safely. I am also going to save the squirrel. Like there's something about this version that just absolutely hits it doesn't matter where I come from. It doesn't matter what I'm capable of. What matters is, every day, those choices I make to help promote a society that we all would rather live in, and not just the people that would benefit from division, and so having that modern version of Lex Luthor, the modern, like Israel versus Palestine thing, like I was really happy with what they did. And I can't wait to see it again. I can't wait to see it again at home when I can pause like as much as I want and just like geek out, because James Gunn is notorious for fitting things in as fan service, because he is truly one of us in that regard. So yeah, I loved it. I can't wait for more.
Now, so I will link to it. I think the speech prof on Instagram did like the best breakdown of why this film is kind of subverting the manosphere's idea of what a Superman should be.
Yep.
And talking about a lot of the
What
things.
is the manosphere's idea of what a Superman should be? Can you put it in a nutshell?
So like very physically strong.
Yep.
Stoic.
Yep. Well, no, not stoic in like a philosophical sense. Stoic as in like speaks little and bears the weight of the world. Stoic,
yes.
Right?
Yes, correct.
Because in a philosophical sense, this version of Superman is very much in the Marcus Aurelius tradition of Stoicism, in that he will always think that he is doing it wrong, even when everybody else around him is telling him how good of a job he's doing. Because deep down, he wants to support society the best he possibly can, and not just exist alongside society and be powerful.
Yeah. And then this new Superman, you know, it is, he compared it to the discourse of like the manosphere being like, oh, everybody, you know, women would love Thor, and women being like, we kind of like Loki. But I think it actually has,
which is so better.
right? But
especially considering that, the exchange he has with Nat when Nat totally plays him in the first Avengers movie. Yeah.
But actually, I think it's closer to something else he's talked about, where if you talk to women about the superhero they find most attractive, well, if you talk to men, like if you go to the Marvel universe, if you talk to men, they're going to be like, women love Thor. And if you talk to women, they say they love Spider-Man.
Okay.
And that it is the superhero who is funny and kind and empathetic that they are attracted to. And so
are you saying that there's an incel divide between the Gunn and Snyder versions of Superman? Just say it. Just say it.
I would not have thought about that in the past, but I think...
Oh, man, I predicted it. Like, I was talking about this before the movie came out to you, if you remember. I don't know if you remember, but whatever, yeah.
Somewhat. But, you know, and that's kind of what the Superman is. You know, he is incredibly kind. He is incredibly empathetic.
And it takes more strength to bridge divides than it does for you just to exert your strength. Like, it actually requires more of you as a person to try to put your beliefs and opinions to the side so you can appreciate another person's perspective. And I think we're going to get a lot more than that, of that in this version than we ever could in the other one, because it was never a topic of conversation, which is, I think, part of the reason why those films were so boring, because they were like, oh, look, these gods walk among us, but they never told us why we should care. And I think what it comes down to is...
I liked the first Superman in the Snyderverse.
But it never told us why we should actually care about those heroes' journeys. The best we got, I maintain, is Ben Affleck's version of Batman. I think they done him dirty. I think there was a lot that he brought to the table as far as like being a good Bruce and a good Batman. But I don't know. It feels like we should take our rhetorical marching orders about this conversation based on who we see still defending the previous version of the Ubermensch Superman.
Well, and so...
And then the crossover to the Jordan Peterson consumption.
Just like on a geek superhero level, I think one of the best things about this film to me is Superman has always been a hard superhero to make movies about because he is kind of too powerful. Like, and there are issues with that. And I think what this one shows in like a really lovely manner in one of the fights is that he is actually limited not by his ability, but about his desire not to do harm.
Yup.
And if he didn't have that desire, he could sort of do anything.
Yep.
But because he has that desire not to do harm, he is actually limited in ways that even less powerful superheroes might not be. And that, I thought, was quite lovely and a pretty fantastic way to deal with that issue that comes up with some of these superheroes. I do think, I know we differ on this point, I do not adore the Lois or really any of the female characters in this movie, which is a shame because James Gunn has made some great female characters. It is certainly not beyond him.
You didn't like his mom? I like Ma Kent. Ma Kent is great.
Ma Kent is great, but in a cute way. She doesn't have anything to do as a character. Like, she is very charming. but I can't think, I mean, except for one superhero who just like punches a guy at the right moment.
Well, Hawkgirl didn't have a lot to do in this film.
No, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Hawkgirl didn't have a lot to do. Lois, I guess, did stuff, but I don't know. That is, to me, probably the weakest point of the film. And I feel like there is absolutely no chemistry between Lois and Superman at all, which is problematic.
And now I'm gonna push back a little bit against something that you said a moment ago that has to do with Superman being this like supremely powerful, untouchable thing, and then we see him be vulnerable here. He famously, beyond kryptonite, can be harmed and manipulated. You know, he's not immune to mind control. He's definitely not immune to magic. Oh. And so we're not just talking like the kryptonite poisoning, which from what we saw with Metamorpho, that was so cool.
That was well done.
Alert. Sorry, spoiler alert. And Metamorpho, amazing. Well done. I don't know if I've seen that actor in anything else. Maybe I should check on that. But no, he was fabulous. But we are going to see the DC universe in this. We're not just going to see Zack Snyder giving us like a big five and telling us that we should care about them and then making movies just with them. We're going to see the Pantheon, which is what we should see. I mean, he is very clear, the James Gunn, I'm saying now, very clearly is taking his marching orders from the comic books and the animated series that we have seen, not just the ones that he made, but like the Justice League and Justice League Unlimited stuff, and all the super stuff that we've seen in the last couple of years. And those shows made it a point to give us the sense that this is a lived-in world with a ton of heroes and a ton of villains. And at any given point, the Justice League is going to have, 30, 40, 50 members. It's not going to be like this tiny core group of people who just claw their relationship together with spit and chewing gum. It's a huge group, and kind of like an army with a command structure. And I can't wait to see if we get an actual version of that, because we're going to see magic. Mm-hmm. Invariably. We're going to see stuff that Superman has no answer for, that he's going to be helpless to ward himself against. He's going to have to be clever. He's going to have to get the support of other people. It's going to be great. We're going to see a version of Superman that is not the Ubermensch, and I am absolutely here for it. So, yeah. Yay. I was ear to ear, that whole movie, ear to ear. That was great.
So the part of the discourse that I don't understand at all is people being mad about how it's an immigrant story. Because I don't know if I have ever seen a Superman that has leaned less on the fact that he is an alien and a visitor here. In fact, I think this one does more than any I can think of to Americanize Superman.
Yeah. I think that the people pushing back against the film were looking for things to not like.
Yeah.
As they do. And they kind of zeroed in on this thing because he was standing up for brown people.
Yeah,
so of course, he's not one of us.
Oh man, I hope it is not that basic. That would be a sad.
I just got done watching the Jubilee of the 20 MAGA versus 1 progressive. I don't know if you've seen that. The most recent one.
No.
Where one of the guys basically openly said that he was a fascist, and then and naturally fascist, MAGA, totally against socialism. The first thing he did after that video aired was he got fired from his job and then resorted to basically a GoFundMe to get compensation to help him survive financially.
Mm-hmm.
It was leopards eating faces, but he is the leopard eating his own face sort of nonsense. These are the people that complain about Superman being too woke. It's not a conversation I really care about having, to be honest. Like, I don't see any value in it. Like, if you're gonna see that movie and have that be your takeaway, okay, great.
But
Next.
yeah, but you agree that there was very little done to emphasize him as an immigrant character.
No, I went into it hoping that they would do more.
Same. Yeah.
And I think we talked about that in addition to what they could have done with the building blocks they actually laid for Lois and Clark's relationship.
Mm-hmm.
That if Clark had been more guarded and had not trusted Lois because he had this baked in sense of otherness that he was wrestling with,
mm-hmm.
and that he kept his armor up, wouldn't let her in. And she just wanted to be a part of his life, and he couldn't do that for her because he was afraid of opening up to that degree. And then she meets his parents, and then she has an epiphany that helps her better understand him, like all the things he isn't saying.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, like there are versions of the movie we saw that would have helped their relationship. There are versions of the movie we saw that might have highlighted him feeling more like an other. But I don't know, like I didn't leave the movie feeling that they didn't do enough of it, and I didn't feel shortchanged.
I mean, they just decided to go a different direction.
Yeah.
And it's fine. I mean, James Gunn is the kind of creator who could have leaned into that hard and clearly decided not to. And I didn't need that from Superman, but given how much I had heard about it, I mean, we went opening weekend and I had already heard tons about it by the time we went. And so it certainly can be easily done with that character, given his backstory. But I felt like, I actually feel like they could not have done less.
Yeah.
If they had tried. It was like,
it was a very interesting example of like why it's important to not settle on a belief before you have enough data to support it.
mm-hmm.
Like, I wanted to love the movie just because I was so tired of the dour, drab, monotonous versions of DC heroes that we've seen from, Chris Nolan and Zack Snyder. Like, I was so tired of it. I mean, I grew up in the 80s reading those comic books. I wanted color and variety and like larger than life. And we just didn't get any of that. And so I was so happy when I saw James Gunn take over, and I was so optimistic. And this is the first big stab at his version of a cinematic universe. And I was so nervous. I was trying not to get my hopes up, but I couldn't help getting my hopes up. So I'm happy that it largely succeeded, for me at least. But I also love having conversations about it with you and others, because there are so many things that I think they could have done better.
Mm-hmm.
But, this is the start of something bigger. And Millie Alcock is great. And I cannot wait to see her in Supergirl next year.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, I cannot wait. So, yeah, fingers crossed. But yeah, I found myself having to check myself, but never successfully. Like, I couldn't shake my optimism for the film. I was just trying to not have my optimism be supported by anything. So I was avoiding spoilers as much as I could. You know what I mean? So my optimism was just like coming out of a reaction to what had come before rather than like actually having any data to support it. So I'm happy that the data ended up largely supporting my optimism, but I had to go into the movie like as much as I possibly could saying, okay, self, you can't be disappointed if this doesn't turn out the way you want it to. But, as a parent, I want as many examples of empathy in mass media as we can encounter. And this is a really big one and a really big opportunity for a really good one. And I think in that regard, knocked it out of the park. So I loved seeing the boys respond so well to this version of Kal-El.
Reader was like on his feet dancing
yes,
he was very involved.
Well, I mean, he was flipping Lex the bird a lot. Then there's a scene at the end, no spoilers, where birds get flipped and things get flipped. And he was laughing to the point where I was afraid he was going to wet himself. It was very satisfying as a parent to see, him have that emotional connection to this version of Superman that I hoped he would have an emotional connection to.
One other thing that has been different for us before the kids left is we've both been actually getting out of the house a tiny bit. So I talked about wanting to do more volunteering at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
I went and met with a woman who is very active in the community to get ideas. Then I went to the meeting of a group that is trying to, organize suburban moms to actually do some decent stuff in the world. And
oh yes, those suburban moms are truly the typically scourge on society.
No, but I don't know. White women certainly could have done more. I don't think anybody's arguing that.
That's true.
And that is great. It truly felt great, but it is also hard. And I just wanted to talk about that weird dichotomy as a parent of wanting to be out and being more active in the community and doing things, and then also just the drain that can be.
Sure. I've been doing, film shoots, and it's been so fun meeting new people. It's been wonderful having an opportunity to do this thing that I just didn't have time in my life to do back when we lived somewhere where all of my friends were doing it. And it's just ironic that I find myself doing it now, but I'm grateful for the opportunities. And, it's giving me opportunities to say yes a lot, which from both from a stoicism and a neurodivergence standpoint, I need to do. I need to say yes to schedule changes as often as I can. And I need to think of other people as people and support them in their aspirations. I just need to think of myself more as a peer in a community of peers rather than an onlooker. And it's a marvelous opportunity to sort of tick all the boxes. So, yeah. And I'm getting credits, which is cool. Finally. So just gradually building my experience and clawing at gaining some legitimacy. It's cool.
Very cool. I think, so I mentioned going to that meeting.
Yeah.
And you guys were amazing and gave me time to do it. Be
so happy you did it. It's so cool that you did.
Yeah. And ate dinner early so I would have time to go. And obviously you were more than capable of handling bedtime when needed. And felt great. Everybody there seemed really interesting. And then I was driving home and I was just hit with a wave of complete exhaustion. And it was, I don't know how to balance all of that. And I also don't know how to balance things I personally want to do with things I want to do as a family. Because I think the other thing I've been facing is we moved to the city that we really, really like, that in a lot of ways gives us more opportunities than where we were.
Yes.
And in some ways, like all the things that I hoped would happen have happened. Like the boys are with friends. They are doing activities they care about. And then in other ways, I think I've been having a hard time this summer because like between that and our work, like I don't know. I mean, I feel like, and we've done trips too. So like, it's not like we're not doing anything. And like, certainly don't cry for me, Argentina. Like we've gotten to do amazing things. But, you know, as far as like the cool things the city holds, like, I don't feel like we've gotten out to any of them this summer. Like it's just been kids' activities and stuff we need to do around the house. And your parents are going to be visiting and we're going to get a chance during that time to do a couple of the things I really cared about. But it's hard to figure out how to balance it all.
Yeah, it is.
And I don't know if, I think I'm like at a hard place because I don't know if the balance is right for me. So I think I've been, you know, while thinking about, you know, sort of trying to do these things more as a unique adult in the world and not just our family, I am feeling a little bit at sea with how to make, I don't know what balance is going to feel right. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's like art and pornography. You just know it when you see it. I just think you're just going to have to keep like pecking around at what works until you find something like you'll know the version of your life that makes sense for you when you're experiencing it, because until then you're not experiencing it and you can't truly have like a belief about it. So just keep adding and subtracting things, keep moving things around, and then you'll get there. Like it just, but it does take work. That's the problem, is that all of these things need to get done. Some of them need to get done at certain times, and it takes work to fit other things, or I should say everything else in and around those necessary obligations. But that's, adulting and parenting, right?
Yeah. I mean, when you have decided to go and do things, do you always, I mean, I think you've had really good experiences with all of them, but do you ever have those mixed feelings of like, this was great, but I am also more tired than I would have been? Or like, do you ever have that mixed feeling, or are you always just glad to have done it?
I'm usually glad to have done it. Like the first shoot I was on was just like a comedy of errors. Mostly like the error that I made in saying, but I guess it wasn't an error, because if I hadn't had that negative experience, then I wouldn't appreciate what I'm getting now with this new circle of film friends. But yeah, there's really very little that you can lose by saying yes to something, because ultimately you at the very least can gain wisdom from the experience that can better inform your decisions moving forward. So I don't know. I like saying yes now. It took me a long time to get there, but I like saying yes.
It might also be, since everything we're doing is still new, there's not ease in any of the things. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So, we also talked about wanting to make more connections and have people over for dinner, but it's like, there's nobody that we've done that with before, right? So it's like figuring out how to make it work with anybody we would invite. With these events, I haven't been before, so I don't know anybody. I haven't had to get to the places before. So that might be part of it too. Just so like, it is all cool, but it like nothing is a rhythm or a habit yet.
Sure.
But I mean, I don't like, I can frame this as a parenting thing. And I think there are definitely like complications added by parenting. But I think I felt this when I was single, like when we were, like, I think I felt this even before we had kids. This might just be a me thing.
Yeah, I think that the more we talk about this, the more I just think that there's a common denominator here.
Which is me.
Yep.
And part of me just always wants to be at home.
Yep.
Oh, man. There is something to that. Or at an art museum. Like half of me always wants to be at home or at an art museum. Those are like the two comfort places. All right. Should we call it there?
I think that's pretty good.
Okay. So we need to thank Jonathan Zalbin and First Frame Music for the music for this podcast.
And that wraps up this episode of The Family Skeptical, where nothing is sacred except for our kids.
Hang on, I have to blow out the candle in here before we do the final thing. With all the doors closed, it's just too much. Okay.